Hello, welcome. This is a presentation for the elective course Current Issues in Architectural Theory for the summer semester 2024. My name is Maya. I'm an architect and a PhD candidate at the ATTP. I would like to start this course with you to explore ways to work conceptually as a designer, as a thinker, with probability and chance within the machine learning cosmos. We address chance because it is the idea behind machine learning and large language models like ChatGBT, Midjourney, and so on. When we speak of chance, we imagine something which is not linear and predefined as a cooking recipe, but something that is associative and responsive, like an improvisation. We're going to begin with this new book by Rainier de Graaf by OMA, who explores this transition of an architect's actions from designing to architecting, the use of architect as a verb. Here is the graph on the book.
Let me introduce the reading. So the book is about concepts like livability, sustainability, well-being, beauty, creativity, excellence, and all the other things, all the other boxes we have to tick as architects, which are being measured to a great degree, quantitated in a great degree, while of course inherently they are unquantifiable and they are immeasurable as most things that are important in life.
So to tackle such anxieties about a limiting or quantified architecture, we will play or architect as a verb with various models of chance. To do that, we will use the kitchen. The kitchen is the ideal location or mindset for this exercise, because in the kitchen, chance manifests in a manner that is very close to how text-to-image production works. By looking at such graphs of machine learning models, the attitude is not to debunk machine learning, because in this way we don't really engage with a subject and we treat it as a museum piece that we never get to fiddle with. So instead we are going to use these models like convolution and stable diffusion and so on as storytelling devices, in which all these nodes and connections are going to guide us in constructing stories with chance about architecting or architecting with chance. We're going to bring another thing on our kitchen table, and this time it is a board game, a game of associations called DIXIT. And here is a small preview.
Is the storyteller for that turn. The storyteller looks at the images on the 6 cards in hand, and from one of them selects a word or a sentence that will describe that card. Now be careful not to be too specific, too obvious, or too cryptic. If all the other players guess correctly, or if it's so cryptic that none of them gets it, then the storyteller doesn't score anything. So say for instance, if you say going on an adventure, that can be very generic, and it could apply to this one, and this one. Now you can also become too specific and say girl playing the cello or music. You also need to make sure you understand your audience. The clues won't be the same if you play with children or with adults.
So you see that by playing this game, it brings this biographical self-referential aspect to the foreground. And as you change the setup or the audience, the clues that you give to each other, to one another, must not be too descriptive or too generic. So in machine learning terms, there is something similar. It is overfitting and underfitting the subject. An architectural example of someone that has created such autobiographic architectonic narratives is Leon Battista Alberti. We will work with this book that is recently published. But before we see what this book is about, if we scroll through his bibliography, we see that the famous treatises by Alberti, like De Re Edificatoria on statue and on painting, are only a small fraction of his work, and there are many more letters, short stories, and mythical novels that we can look at. And by looking at these stories and the autobiographical motif, we follow a trend We come across a version of Alberti which is not widely known or celebrated, as it digresses from the typical form or idea of what it means to write a treatise. There are stories called My Dog, My Life, The Fly, other ones like Momus and Dinner Pieces in other books, where he makes up myths, metaphors, interpretations by mixing real events with imaginary ones. And he does that with an incredible versatility while communicating an underlying idea about himself as an architect and his designs. I close with a quote from The Art of Discovery, a book that is part of our bibliography. And in it describes the methodological attitude of the Renaissance as an antiquarianism that emerges as a quintessentially collaborative pursuit. An art of conversation as well as investigation, and one linked as tightly to making art as to making knowledge. So this is the world that we are going to explore with a chance seminar. We're going to create short stories, letters, various images, and the paper that match the playfulness of Alberti and machine learning models and DIXIT. And we will speak about the use of the word architect as a verb, and use chance to create autobiographical architecture. The first meeting is on March the 7th, it's a Thursday at 2 o'clock. Thanks for listening. Looking forward. Bye.